So maybe the best way to describe this whole Jimmy Butler trade saga is basically to pull up an old episode of The Office. I am just saying it is absolutely hilarious to watch this whole thing unfold. Yesterday, we had Jimmy Butler actually come out and say, reportedly, allegedly, that he wanted to get traded. Then today, we had the Pat Riley statement basically saying we are not trading Jimmy Butler. It is just absolutely hilarious to watch. Now, the Miami Heat played tonight, actually went to Orlando. Jimmy Butler had a stomach ache, so did not travel with the team. If you're counting, that's his fourth game he's missed in a row, yet the Heat ended up beating that really depleted Orlando Magic team. 89-88 was the final in that. But this saga is just absolutely must-see TV. I'm going to begin tonight with what happened yesterday on ESPN. Here's a clip from Shams.
So 2 weeks ago, I reported that the Heat are open to listening to trade offers for Jimmy Butler.
Okay.
Now there's some line drawn in this sand. There's been an escalation in this situation.
Okay.
Sources tell me Butler prefers a trade out of Miami ahead of the NBA trade deadline, February 6th. The Suns, Warriors are atop his preferred win-now destination. While he's made it known that he's prepared for his exit out of Miami in league circles, this isn't Minnesota. This is not a situation where we're going to see unprofessionalism. He has been professional this season, but there is not an urgency right now, from my understanding, in talks that the Heat are having, but other teams expect to engage with Miami ahead of the deadline.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you want to play tough and want to hate this, I'll always show up.
Welcome back to the NBA Rundown. You got to give it to Shams. He's definitely going to live and die with this whole Jimmy Butler story. Don't forget, Shams is the guy that got into it with Jimmy Butler's agent a couple weeks ago. Look, I checked, and the NBA scriptwriters had absolutely nothing to do with any of that. Look, at the end of the day, this whole Jimmy Butler wants to get traded from Miami is something that I personally believe is something that at this point Jimmy Butler really wants to make. Now, we're going to talk about some crazy, and I do mean crazy, trade scenarios in just a little bit. But before we get into those, I want you to hear what Kendrick Perkins actually had to say on this whole Jimmy Butler saga.
They still held on for too long. It's Florida. But they held on for too long. Here's the thing. I'm right there with Stephen A. The perfect spot for Jimmy Butler is the Phoenix Suns alongside Kevin Durant.
But wouldn't that require Bradley Beal then waiving his no-trade clause and going to Miami? Should Miami
absolutely.
do that?
Why wouldn't he want to go wiggle his toes in the sand?
He should want to.
And look,
Okay.
he should want to. And I understand Pat Riley is old and stuck in his ways at 79 years of age, pushing 80, and I get it, a legend in the game of basketball. But Jimmy Butler has done more than enough for this franchise, and he should be able to get granted his wishes, especially right now. So when I look at the Phoenix Suns and I'm looking at Kevin Durant, think about Kevin Durant when he's had success in his years of basketball, meaning going to the NBA Finals or completing a mission or winning championships. He's had dogs around him, from Draymond Green to Russell Westbrook to yours truly. But Jimmy Butler brings that dog to the Phoenix Suns. Right now, they're softer than funeral home music. They need a dog.
Or cotton out tissue, either one.
Okay, so that was Kendrick Perkins, and if you know anything about the NBA Rundown, I don't always agree with what Kendrick Perkins has to say. However, in this case, I believe the big fella was absolutely correct. Look, at this point, I believe Jimmy Butler has earned the right, especially with 4 months essentially left on his contract, to actually ask the Miami Heat to trade him. It's one thing for them to say publicly, as Pat Riley did earlier in the day, that they are not going to trade Jimmy Butler. It's a whole other thing for them to actually stick to that. Look, I do not believe that if a specific deal that made sense was presented to Pat Riley, despite all of the rumors you all have heard about Pat Riley's maybe gone a little bit senile at this point, I don't know if any of that's true. I just find it hard to believe that the Miami Heat organization, an organization that puts, that actually uses the word culture on their jerseys, would actually not look for a way to move Jimmy Butler, who has done, for the most part, a lot of really great things for this Miami Heat team. So I absolutely agree with Perkins in this particular case. Now, I'm going to go ahead and pull up some of the possible trade scenarios that are floating around the internet right now with regards to this Jimmy Butler saga. Now, we've all heard about the teams that Jimmy Butler wants to go to. The Golden State Warriors has certainly been one of the teams that's been talked a lot about in recent months. Now, this particular trade that I'm actually showing you right now is just so goddamn crazy that it would be hard to believe that anybody inside the Miami Heat organization would not actually take this trade. Now, I'm not saying the Warriors would do this trade. I think the Warriors should not do this trade, but this is what the trade is. It's Andrew Wiggins, Gary Payton II, Looney, Jonathan Kuminga, and then Brandon Pozinski. Oh, and then on top of that, we're also going to throw in 2 first-round draft picks, which this particular trade right here just seems absolutely ridiculous. Now, if you jump online and you go onto Twitter or X and you look around, you will see that this is by far one of the most popular trade scenarios that's out there. It's almost as if whoever came up with this idea was a family champion, if you will, at the game of Monopoly over the holidays. It is a ridiculous trade, which of course the Warriors would never make. Now, I'm not saying the Warriors would unload maybe 3 of the pieces listed and a draft pick or 2, but to give up all of those pieces makes absolutely no sense at all. The other big landing spot where apparently Jimmy Butler would want to end up is with the Phoenix Suns. Now, in order for that to actually even be a reality, somebody in the Phoenix Suns organization would have to convince Bradley Beal that he was actually going to be traded and potentially would end up in Miami. Now, for those of you that have spent any time in Miami, and for those of you that have spent any time in Phoenix, look, Phoenix is a great city to be in, but if you want to hang out at the beach, then Miami is certainly a upgrade, so to speak. So it's just a question of where Bradley Beal's head is at this point. And does a deal like that make any sense for either the Warriors or the Phoenix Suns at this point, especially if they don't have a real commitment from Jimmy Butler to remain with the team after the season is over? All right, so those are some quick thoughts on this whole Jimmy Butler trade saga, which quite frankly has been absolutely crazy. It's a case of he said, and he said. First, Sham said that Jimmy Butler wanted to be traded. Then his agent, Jimmy Butler's agent, basically came out and said, "You're crazy, that's not true." Then Sham said, "I'm sticking to it." Then Jimmy Butler finally releases something where he allegedly says he is ready to be traded from the Miami Heat. And within 24 hours of that, Pat Riley jumps up and says, "We are not trading Jimmy Butler." Look, the NBA scriptwriters might have not had anything to do with this one, but they certainly should have. All right, for the NBA Rundown, I'm Dave DeBaugh, wishing you all a tremendous rest of your sports viewing day.
I don't never slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough,